News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Nathan Hager.
And I'm Karen Moscow.
Karen, we begin with tensions flaring on Capitol Hill between President Trump and Senate Republicans. The president went into lunch with members of his own party upset over a vote in the Senate rebuking his war with Iran. The president refused to sign a bipartisan housing bill that Congress had just passed ahead of the meeting. Afterward, the president put a positive spin on it.
I think we had a really great meeting, and we're very proud of the party. We like our leader. We like everybody really in the room. I don't like a few people, but that's okay. I think you know who they are.
President Trump spoke to reporters on Capitol Hill after the lunch. Bloomberg's Stephen Dennis reports Republican Senator Bill Cassidy drew the president's anger for voting for the War Powers Resolution.
The way Cassidy described it is Trump asked who could possibly have voted for this thing, and Cassidy said, do you want, the real answer? And Trump said yes, and he said, well, we haven't been briefed. You said this war was going to last 4 weeks. It's lasted 4 months. None of your original aims have been met, et cetera.
Bloomberg's Stephen Dennis reports Senator Cassidy got a White House briefing on Iran after the lunch from Vice President J.D. Vance. By the end of the day, Cassidy said he shouldn't have lost his cool.
I lost my temper. That's not appropriate. It's the Irish in me.
Last night, Senator Cassidy and fellow Republican Rand Paul reversed their votes and rejected a separate War Powers resolution. Paul posted on X that he voted present to give the president more space and leverage to negotiate a lasting peace.
Nathan, all this provided the backdrop as President Trump took to the National Mall for a rally marking America's 250th anniversary.
Tonight, as we stand on the edge of our 250th year of independence, I am thrilled to declare that America is back.
And the president used his speech to defend the Iran war.
For the first time in 3,000 years, we are finally going to have peace in the Middle East. We're going to have peace in the Middle East. Since the agreement, the stock market and your 401ks are skyrocketing upward. And oil prices are plummeting downward today. It hit a new low, and the world is a much safer place.
President Trump's speech kicked off a 16-day Great American State Fair on the Mall. Several artists pulled out of the event, saying it was more political than they'd been led to believe. So the president said he'd headline the festivities himself.
Well, turning overseas, Karen, the European Union is signing off on its trade deal with the U.S. Let's go to London, get the latest with Bloomberg's Ewan Potts. Good morning, Ewan.
Nathan and Karen, it has taken almost a year of talks, but EU member states have finally approved the European Union's trade deal with the United States. Under the terms, the EU will scrap levies on US industrial goods and some agricultural products in exchange for a 15% tariff ceiling on its exports to the US. The agreement of the 27 member countries comes just 9 days before President Trump's deadline. Good news for strained transatlantic relations, but plenty of disagreements remain, not least on issues including metals tariffs and tech regulation. In London, I'm Ewan Potts, Bloomberg Radio.
Right, Ewan, thank you. The deal comes a day after NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte met with President Trump in the Oval Office. He was trying to ease the president's anger over the reluctance of alliance nations to help with the campaign against Iran. Rutte displayed posters highlighting how much more money NATO nations have spent on defense since Trump took office. After the meeting, Rutte spoke with Bloomberg's Balance of Power.
What I think is important is to be fair, and fairness dictates that this president is really doing a huge amount of work to get NATO in better shape. He had a big success last year in The Hague with the 5% spending commitment.
And NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte told Bloomberg's President Trump is committed to the alliance and will play a critical role at a meeting of NATO leaders set for next month in Turkey. Catch the full conversation on our new video hub on Bloomberg.com and the Bloomberg Business app.
Let's turn to markets now, Karen. The AI trade is back in play. Nasdaq futures are up more than 2% following earnings from Micron Technology. That stock is up 16.5% pre-market. The largest U.S. maker of computer memory chips says its revenue will be approximately $50 billion in the fiscal fourth quarter. That's 50, and it's almost $7 billion more than analysts estimated. Gene Munster is managing partner at Deepwater Asset Management.
the street is going to get more comfortable at growth rates for the hyperscalers and the broader CapEx of 40% plus. And what that means is that these companies are going to continue to grow faster for longer than most investors expect. And despite all this skittishness within the market, this is just just a resounding endorsement that we are, in fact, earlier than most believe in the build-out.
Ms. Gene Munster of Deepwater Asset Management. Micron has also secured 16 strategic customer agreements averaging 3 years in length.
And that's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Karen Moscow.
I'm Nathan Hager, and this is Bloomberg.